Hello students, hope every one of you are fine and doing well. Meantime, getting ready for your upcoming English exam. Dear students, don't be too worried about my hairstyle. It's a lockdown special. At times it's beautifully said, a blessing in disguise. Dear students, please see to that these lockdown holidays are not going to knock down your future. Rather, it's a platform for every one of you to utilize all these holidays to discover yourself, to build your personality, to watch the news bulletins, to learn some new skills, prepare yourself for the competitive exams, and thus set a path to keep yourself on a pedestal. Let me fall back to my business and do the task that I am entrusted with. Model question paper. A few instructions are displayed on the slide number 1. Please concentrate on the instruction D. Answer to the question number 24 and 25 in the sequence that is given to you in the question paper. This is a note specially for the toppers. You happen to change the sequence that is given to you in the question paper, then you may end up losing a mark. So let's fall back to the slide number 2 and start with Roman number 1. Answer the following in a word, a phrase, or a sentence each. Question number 1. When, according to Juliet, would all the world be in love with night? Answer is quite simple. When Romeo is cut into little stars. The question number 2. Mention any one of the commodities that was taxed in Monaco. There are varieties of commodities, but you can hang on with tobacco and also wine and spirits. You can write either of it. Question number 3. In On Children, God loves the arrow that flies as well as the bow that dash. The answer is stable. The bow is stable. So the answer is C is stable. Question number 4. What has replaced biodiversity according to Vandana Shiva? It is monoculture. The answer is the monoculture. Question number 5. Who was called the Silver Maiden in A Sunny Morning? You can write once again either of it. You can write Laura Lorette, or you can also write Donna Laura. Question number 5. Tamanna's disease was Basavaya's dash. The options are given: A, health, B, weakness, C, sorrow. And it's once again a quite easy question. Tamanna's disease was Basavaya's health. Question number 7. Where is the child's foot condemned to live? The child's foot was condemned to live in a shoe. Question number 8. Whom does Borgias look upon as an intelligent and gracious woman? Every one of us also do the same. It is obviously his mother. Question number 9. According to the speaker of heaven, if you are not earth, heaven is dash. Option is 1, A, on earth. Second one, not on earth. And C, third one, beyond earth. The answer is on earth. Question number 10. What, according to George Mikes, do the driver and pedestrian finally do after the chase in Brazil? It's usually they smile amicably at each other. Question number 11. What is the symbol used by Marcus Ibe in the election in the motor car? The last question in Roman number 1. Final question, question number 12. Name the person who wrote the famous cycling song mentioned in Where There Is a Whale. The right answer is Muthu Bhaskaran. So when you write, especially the toppers say to that, go with Muthu Bhaskaran. It's not Muthu Bhaskaran. At times the Muthus can make you to lose a mark. Let's jump into Roman number 2. The slide. Answer any 8 of the following, choosing at least 2. The instruction is very clear, and you have to keep the limit around 80 to 100 words. So the answer has to be in one single paragraph. Romeo claims to have never seen true beauty till he saw Juliet. How does he justify his statement? Quite interesting question. A few important points are given to you in the slide. You can, using all these points, you can construct an answer which consists of 80 to 100 words. What happened when Romeo started to see Juliet? Romeo was fascinated by Juliet's beauty. The first impression that he derived. Can teach the torches to burn bright. He immediately started using the images. The first image is torches. Then what happened? Seems to hang upon the cheek of night as rich jewel in an Ethiopian seer. He says, beauty too rich for use. Meantime, he says, it's too dear for the earth. Compares Juliet to white dove, comparing rest all the women to crows. And he wants to see her, wants to touch her, and thus make himself a blessed man. And finally draws his conclusion saying, till then, he had never seen a true beauty as he had seen in Juliet. The slide number, question number 14. What does the criminal in 2 Deer refuse to escape from the prison? Explain. Why? What is the reason why he was not able to go outside? Why did he show the stubbornness? The answer or important points are, prisoner asked to run away. The minister asked him to run away, but he said he's not going to run away. He says, where can I go? I have no place to go because you have entitled me, saying that I am a criminal. His character was ruined. How? Because everyone started to call him as a criminal. People would turn their backs. So when he went to speak with someone, immediately they showed some kind of passive nature, showed their backs. Got off the ways of working because he was imprisoned for some time. He was not accustomed to his daily work. Has been treated very badly. People treated him badly. Minister treated him badly. King should have executed. The final judgment that was given to him was not executed because the Monaco kingdom lacked all these facilities. He was ever ready to kill himself, was ready to bow himself to the commands that was given by the Monaco kingdom. Ordered the death sentence. At the end, they changed the death sentence. Did not complain. He obeyed. Whenever they wanted to change the sentences, they changed, and he remained very faithful. Finally, he says, the guard was taken away. You treated me like a criminal. Finally, you started to treat me like a gentleman, and you asked me to run away. Do whatever you want to do. I am not going to run away. Finally, he says, has to fetch my own food. I had to start to do all the daily work that I want to keep myself alive. Question number 15. Bring out the significance of the rights of nature as explained by Vandana Shiva in her essay. The question that is raised from everything that I learned. Listen. When nature is a teacher, now every one of us realizing what is happening in the world, coronavirus, good many scientists are saying we have ruined the nature. It's a lesson for every one of us to learn from this particular disease. It says co-creating possible. When we are attuned with nature, there's a creation. We are supposed to carry forward the creation, recognize nature's agency and rights. Ecuador recognized is the reference of the country also is given. Ecuador, they recognized the nature's rights and they started to live with nature. And there is one more reference where there was a conference was conducted in harmony with nature. That is by Bolivia. Separatism is the root of disharmony and violence against nature. We cannot separate ourselves from nature. We are supposed to attune ourselves with nature. Nature is going to teach us how we are supposed to live our life. And finally it says, need to overcome eco-apathy. We cannot keep ourselves away from nature. Every second of our existence is totally dependent on nature. Question number 16. Narrate how, according to Dona Laura and Don Gonzalo, the sad love affair of a friend and his cousin ended. A romantic comedy. Once again, a few points are given over here. Gonzalo fled after the duel. You know, in the lesson, there was a small little fight. And he hides himself. Then gradually he starts telling lies that he started to write a few letters which did not reach her, and in despair saddened himself and he started to join the army. Went to Africa, died in a trench, grasping the flag of Spain, uttering name of Laura, which is utter lie. When a soldier dies, he never utters the name of his girlfriend. It's always the name of the country. Met a heroic death. Laura went to the duel spot, wrote Gonzalo's name on sand, sat on a rock, waves came and took away. And then finally, the points are given. Both of them are trying to narrate the hooked up stories. Question number 17. How did the owner's life change after the arrival of the old man in the gardener? Quite interesting. Listen. Both good and worse happen to the owner. Both good things and bad things happen. Petty thefts avoided. Small little thefts that were taking place in the garden gradually ended. Its plantation expanded. The uncultivated land gradually started to be cultivated by the old man. Income increased. Every one of us, we need money. So his income started. Wealth and social prestige rose. Everyone started to praise him. He started to have many followers. Less work left for owner. Owner did not have to do any work. Became lethargic. Gradually, when he went out of the work, normal rhythm, he became lazy, lethargic. Acquired friends. When we have money, it's very obvious that many people, many friends are going to be behind us. Life crowded with colorful events, parties, movies, moving around everywhere. And finally, how did he end his life? Developed many bad habits. And one bad habit is quoted at the end, adultery. So all these points you can include and you can write your answer. Question number 18. How does Borges describe his mother and his feelings for her in his interview? Borges says his mother was an extraordinary person. For every one of us, it's the same. Kind to him, feels guilty for not giving her happiness. That's what I said in the initial part of my video. Let's not regret in the second part of our life. So here, Borges says, I have not done justice to my mother. Says should have been more understanding of her. We need to understand ourselves. We need to understand our neighbors. We need to understand our parents. We need to understand everyone. Did not realize our importance. Every one of us, teenagers, students, take our parents, especially take our mother for granted. And we realize our worthness, we realize existence only once we lose her. Took her for granted. That's what I said. After the death, felt he has abused her. So your word has been used in a heavy manner, but it's okay. Abused means did not care or maybe did not show any kind of love or concern for her. She was intelligent, gracious, had no enemies. It's very rare that women do not have enemies, but in her case, something special. Question number 19. Why does the speaker of heaven, if you're not here on earth, say that heaven is right here on earth? It's beautifully said. If God happens to ask you tomorrow after our death, how was the heaven? The answer is unknown to us. So that's the understanding of this poem. The poet says, the earth itself is a heaven for every one of us. Heaven is nowhere else. Heaven is in our own places. Heaven is in our own home, in our own family, in our own world. So we have to create the world. Right here on earth, humans can become gods. So we have to play the role of gods. Nymphs attain divinity and beauty. Roaring stream, waves, sunshine, garden, all these things, all these beautiful creations of God Almighty create heaven on earth. Non-intervention of man in nature, having rich harvest, fruit of hard work, poet imbibes and spills song of nectar, creates thus heaven with his writing. So he tries to bring in all the existence of this nature. Says how the harvest is done, how the rich harvest is finally reaped by the farmers, hard work. All these things, when we live happily, makes a true heaven on earth. Question number 20. Give an account of the Japanese mania habit for bowing as described by George Meigs. In Japan, bowing mania is a habit which strikes travelers, which impresses everyone. Everybody bows to everybody. We know they have given us the method, whom supposed to bow, how much, all those details are given to us in the lesson. With inimitable grace, quantia, formal oriental, infictitious, complicated hierarchy, bowing, cars meeting at intersection, neither to move, neither to straighten, other stands erect, rank, age, social position reflected in bowing. So all those things are given to you in a small little crux. You can put them in a right answer. 21. How did Sheila Rani Chankat empower the Pudukottai women by including cycling in the literacy drive? Very inspiring lesson. Cycling was the brainchild. It was a brainchild of Sheila Rani Chunkat. Then it's also known to us that she was the former district collector. She started to train the female activists, and thus gradually she increased the literacy rate of women, included mobility, that is what is needed in the ancient times. The women were not given the freedom to come outside of their homes. They had to retain themselves inside the homes and do all the household chores. But here Sheila Rani Chunkat takes the initiative, sets the platform for every woman to achieve something what she actually wants to imbibe in her life. Made each block accept specific duties in promoting cycling. So she creates certain blocks and does the justice for the mission that gave it personal attention. She stood at front and did the justice for the mission she had started. Question number 22. The question number 22. What personal memories does the speaker associate to water in the poem Water? Speaker remembers a wada, a locality, thirsting for a glass of water all day. It's mainly about untouchability. We know all that. How they welcome their weekly bath. They were taking once in a week. The bathing was once in a week. At times, some of us, we bathe thrice a day. And it was a big festival for them. They celebrated it. So life is all about celebration in a childhood. Walked miles to fetch water. They had to walk miles and miles together to fetch a pot of water. Carried back heavy pots. They had to carry the heavy pots on their shoulders, on their waist. Muscles and veins on the neck straining, coming out. We visibly see all those things. And then finally, thatched roofs aflame for what of water. So finally, there was a big riot, and what happens in the village is known to us in the poem. So Roman number 3, answer the following in about 200 words. So the 3 questions will be given to you. Out of 3, you can pick up any one and you can do the justice by writing the answers. The question number 1. A sunny morning revolves around concealing and revealing Laura and Gonzalo's identity. Elaborate. So they are gradually starting to reveal their identity. Though in the initial stage they meet as spectators, but gradually they reveal their identities, and that's what you're supposed to write in the answer. So Gonzalo and Laura meet in a park. So where they meet, as strangers, how they meet, accuse each other, what happens when they get into a small little conversation, pass irritating remarks, they start backbiting, a small little heated discussion, come to terms, slowly unravel past, gradually they start to recall their past, spin incredibly, romantic stories about themselves. So gradually they start narrating the romantic stories about their past, try to impress each other. So gradually by revealing themselves, they try to impress, decide to hide their past identity, fail to do so, but identity confirmed, gradually both of them come to know that each other in the past, both of them were true lovers, not expressed, but still they do not reveal, they keep it very, very secret. Play brings out predicament of Gonzalo and Laura, comically presents plot full of witty remarks and episodes. Continuously it has got romantic comedy. Next question. The speaker addresses a young lady in her old age. Comment on the time sequence used by the poet in When You Are Old. Very familiar with this particular poem, When You Are Old, where the poet sits back and recalls all the past events that took place in his life. Speaker addressing young lady, that's what I told you. Drawing her attention to her old age. Now he starts asking a question. In the past, when you're young, beautiful, dashing, what happened to you? And now you have started to grow old. How your life is at present. Reading the book containing poems, and all the poems that he has written has carried in that particular book. Nodding by the fire, That's a system that we have got in abroad countries. Remembering her past, not recognizing the true love of speaker. Many other young admirers attracted by her physical beauty. Only speaker loved her pilgrimage soul. This is what happens in love. Good many times when the teenagers fall in love, it's always a kind of attachment, a kind of external attraction that the kids they have. But here the poet says he loved her soul. Sorrows of her changing face. The poet knew that gradually time changes, the beauty vanishes, and truly he loved her pilgrimage soul, but she failed to recognize that particular true love. Warning the young lady of transitory beauty, reminding her of repentance. Now she has to repent for all the mistakes that she has created, because right now she is living her life all alone. Next slide, please. Do you think that the voter is right in demanding money to vote for Marcus Ibe? Explain. So, 5 years ago, voters voted. So now we have to cast our vote once in 5 years to nominate our own leaders, to elect our own leaders. At times, some voters cast their vote for free. Some people demand. Sometimes the political leaders themselves give money or distribute something else. Voters voted for free. Today, Marcus Ibe achieved the honorable won too long cause. Every one of us, we know how the politicians change their lives, how rich they become once they get into the politics, and what they do once they get elected. That's what we see in the entire answer. Built a big house, installed a private plant to supply electricity, leads a luxurious life, promised many things, not fulfilled any. Voters now ready to try it in a different way. Last time you assured us something. You fulfilled a few things, but not everything. But this time we are going to cast our vote once again for you. Before we could cast, we are going to give a small little challenge for you. Mockery of democracy, Rube, a puppet in mockery, offering money to vote, caught in trap, right for wrong, difficult to decide. It was in a chaos what to do, which side to go, whether to please the leader, his minister, or to please the voters. And finally, because of his wisdom, he does the justice and wins once again a side for his minister. Next slide. Roman number 4, my dear students, read the following passage and answer the questions set on. It's an unseen passage. Unseen passage will be given to you. On that, 10 questions will be raised. And once again, let me make it very clear. All these questions you have to write in the sequence that is given to you in the question paper. You cannot interchange. So it's unseen passage. You can do the justice. Next slide, please. Question number 25. Poetry interpretation. Read the following lines and answer the questions. So, a small little paragraph will be given to you out of the poems that were given to you study. And on that particular paragraph, the 3 questions will be set and the answers you have to write, and the answers have to be very, very precise. Lord, I'm so tired. Tired I enter this world. Far have I wandered since the cock crew, and the road to school is steep. Lord, I do not want to go into their school. If your memory flashes back, it's very easy to identify the poem is from the prayer of a black boy. What are the 3 questions that are set? The 3 marked questions. First one, who is addressed by the speaker? Speaker is addressing whom? It's very clear. Answer is in the first word itself. It's Lord. And you can write the synonyms also. God. You can write Almighty. But the best thing is to hang on to the textual answers. Second one. What time of the day does since the cock crew suggest? It's usually dawn, what we call. Or you can write early morning. Or you can also write daybreak. But the easiest one is dawn. You have no problems at all. And the last question. How is the road to school according to the speaker? Very easily it's given to you. And the road to school is steep. So the answer is steep. Next slide. Complete the following by filling in the blanks using the right form of the verb given in brackets. It's quite easy task for you. Once again, 3-mark question. Roof dash. Roof is singular. So the answer will be was. So no it will be known. Roof was known to everyone in Umofia. The campaigner of PUC party met him. No words. The word words is plural, so it will be were. So no words were worsted between them. Roof, once again the singular, was given £5 to cast his vote for Maduka. So the answers are was known, were wasted, and was given. Next slide. Question number 27, reported speech. Report the following conversation. So you will be given a few conversations in the form of a dialogue. So every time you need to find out each sentence belongs to which type of sentence, and when you identify the type of sentence, it will be quite easy for you to do the reported speech. Let's go along with the dialogue that is given to us. Don Gonzalo, are you speaking to me, Senora? Are you speaking to me, Senora is what type of question? Is it yes or no question? Falls under interrogative type of sentence. Dona Laura, S is the type of expression as we discussed in the classrooms. Don Gonzalo, what do you wish? Once again, interrogative question falls under WH question. Dona Laura, you have scared away the birds. They were feeding on my crumbs. Once again, both these sentences fall under declarative type of sentence. Let's go with the answers. Don Gonzalo asked Dona Laura whether or if, you can use any usages, whether or if she was speaking to him. Dona Laura replied in the affirmative. You can also write Dona Laura replied positively. In positive, the choice is yours. All these 7 steps are dealt in the classroom in detail, and you know the usages of all these reported speech. Don Gonzalo asked Dona Laura what she wished. You need to keep 1 point over in this particular sentence. What do you wish? Here, do is the auxiliary, and the main verb is wish. So wish gets converted into wished, and do vanishes. Sometimes you may take a shortcut and write what did. No, if you write so, you will lose the mark. So find out the main verb. So what's the answer? Don Gonzalo asked Dona Laura what she wished. Dona Laura said that he had scared away the birds. And the final answer here, she said that they had been feeding on her crumbs. So this is the reported speech. Complete the following dialogue. Question number 28. Anita is Vinita's new neighbor. They meet and introduce themselves. Quite easy. Anita, you have to greet. Whom she has to greet? She has to meet Vinita. So, hello, good morning. The second part of the sentence is given to you. May I come in? So, greet and do the answering in the second conversation. Good morning. Very good morning. You can write the way you want to write. And the answer is, may I come in? Please come in. So, now Anita is going to reply. She has to introduce herself. I am Anita. She introduces herself. Your next door neighbor. And the last dialogue over here, Vinita. I am Vinita. And she introduces herself and requests the dialogue is given to you. Please take your seat or please sit down. Question number 29, fill in the blanks by choosing the appropriate expressions given in the brackets. It's idioms and phrases. The telephones are situated on a table or a counter in Japan. Anybody, any passerby could, but nobody does. The telephone receiver can be dash. So the options will be given to you and you have to choose the right one. So the answers are listen in, and the second answer is one's castle. So anybody, any passerby could listen in. So when someone speaks, we can listen. And the second answer is the telephone receiver can be dash, one's castle. That's a home. Fill in the blanks with the right linker. Right linkers, you have to use the right linkers. So the options will be given to you, jumble answers will be given to you. You have to choose and Construct them in the meaningful passage. The Kingdom of Monaco was a peaceful and peace-loving country. So what are the options that are given? But, eventually, so, then. Interchange once, you have to choose the right one. So the answer is so. They did not feel the need to keep an army or a police force. But once a murder was committed there, then they were forced to look for ways to try and punish the criminal. And finally, eventually, they decided to give him a pension and send him away. So the answers are so, but, then, eventually. Question number 31. Read the following passage and make notes by drawing and filling the boxes given below. It's note taking, so you'll be given a small little passage. From there, you're supposed to pick up the answers. 1 or 2 points that you're supposed to keep in mind is you're supposed to draw the picture that is given to you in the question paper. So keep in your mind, you're supposed to draw the picture that is given to you in the question paper. Point number 2, see to that you write those answers inside the box. And the point number 3, mention the numbers, whether if they have given you the numbers or the alphabets, you write those numbers and alphabets correctly. Question number 32. Write a letter of application. It's job application. Very familiar, I suppose. Every one of you, a 5-mark question. So a question will be given to you. They are in search of what? Everything will be given to you. There's a prescribed format for you. You're supposed to follow that and do the justice. Let's go to the next slide. So this is the format. This is a sender's address, XXX and YYY. Then comes the date when you're going to apply. Then comes the receiver's address. It will be given to you. Everything will be given to you. Then comes the opening salutation. Dear sir or madam, greetings, or the opening salutation. Then comes the subject, followed with the reference, and then comes the entire body. Then comes the complimentary closure. How you are supposed to close the letter? Thank you, yours faithfully, XXX, XXX in parentheses, and finally you're supposed to write the enclosure, that is a resume. And the next page you're supposed to write the second part of the letter, that is a resume. So you're supposed to write minimum 8 points or 8 items in the resume. You can exceed beyond that, there's no problem, but if you fail to write 8 and you happen to write below 8, your resume will not be taken into consideration. So you can go with name, address, date of birth, nationality, objective, educational qualification, experience, languages known, and also your hobbies, interests, and finally you can give a reference where you worked, because everywhere when they request the candidates, they always prefer the experienced candidates. Question number 33, introducing the chief guest. Sometimes you'll be having the speech writing, sometimes you have to introduce the chief guest. So imagine you are the general secretary. You're going to be the general secretary of your college union. You are invited Dr. Praveen M, whose profile is given. The entire profile is given over here. You have to introduce him to the audience, to the spectators, using the points given below. Write a speech in about 100 words. Your limit should not cross. So birthplace is given, education is given, profile is given, and all the other details where he only has worked, all the details are given to you in the profile. You have to culminate all those points and beautifully write a speech introducing the guest. Next slide, please. So when you write or introduce the chief guest, please see to that you keep these points in your mind. The first one is mark for greeting. So 1 mark will be allotted for you for the greeting. So how you open your introductory part. Esteemed dignitaries, honored of the days, ladies and gentlemen. So that's the opening salutation of the greeting that you have got. The 2 marks are allotted for your language usage. How you are going to create your own language and beautifully introduce the chief guest. And 1 mark is allotted for you for your continuity, the sequence that you are entirely set. And the last one is leave taking. The final you have to say thank you. You have option over here. You can introduce the chief guest, or you can go with the report writing. You can write a report. A pie chart will be given to you. A bar graph or a line graph will be given to you. Using the data that is given to you, either of the charts, you are supposed to write A report in about 100 words. The choice is yours. You can go for speech writing. If by chance if they're not given the speech writing and the report writing, you can go ahead with the introducing the chief guest and also the report. You can choose and do the needful. Here you have one more option. Along with introducing the chief guest, you also have the option of writing the report writing. A pie chart, at times bar graph, line graph will be given to you. You can choose if you want to introduce the chief guest, you can go ahead with that particular format. If you want to write the report writing, you can use the data that is given to you in any of the charts and you can write a report in about 100 words. The next slide, please. So last but one question, what do the underlined words in the following extract refer to? So it is pronouns. Sao designs the trophies handed over to the winners. These are presented to them with great ceremony. Though Sao is not a sportsman, his passion for creating the trophies is outstanding. He has his workshop in Bhubaneswar where he has been living since his childhood. It's a small little passage about Sahu. And there are 4 pronouns which are underlined. You're supposed to link these pronouns with the passage. So these stands for what? Sahu designs the trophies handed over to the winners. These, that is usually trophies. And the second one, them. It stands for winners. His stands for Sau. Where stands for Bhubaneswar. And the last question on the slide. Rearrange the jumbled segments to form a meaningful sentence. So a sentence will be given to you, a jumbled sentence will be given to you. You have to reshuffle and construct it in a meaningful sentence. Gandhi, Africa, as a lawyer, went to South to work. So the answer is Gandhi went to South Africa to work as a lawyer. So Gandhi went to South Africa to work as a lawyer. So thank you very much, students. I hope I've done some justice for the task that is entrusted to me. Once again, a humble request with everyone, wherever you appear for exam, always see to that you blossom to the fullest. And after the exam, you happen to have extra holidays, please utilize all that time for your constructive activities. Until then, take care. A goodbye from my side.